Yesterday's loss was one of the worst losses in Kentucky basketball history, recent history, for a few reasons. One of them was because we played on CBS, so this was a nationally televised game, and this was one of the games that people were tuning into to see what the Mark Pope product was, and we got embarrassed. Second piece is that our guys looked like they were outmatched at every step along the way. Our guys were outplayed, they were out hustled, but the scary part is that it kind of looked like they were maybe more talented than us. They had guys who were able to shoot threes at a higher clip. Their big men were more physical than ours. Aaron Bradshaw was stepping out from deep twos and 3-point land and knocking down shots and just proving to be unguardable. Um, and they were also playing better defense than us, and they were playing as more of a team than us. So like it looked like we played against a better team and we're ranked fourth in the country. So that's really disappointing because it kind of makes me more hesitant about our hopes in March. Third piece is that Jackson Robinson is once again disappearing when we need him most. I think that Jackson just wants to be a role player on this ball club, and we're forcing him into this like star player role. He's used to being a sixth man at BYU, and I think that's the role that he wants to play. I don't think that when we get into a big game, he doesn't want to take all the shots. I don't think he wants the pressure on his back. And I think that we've seen that a handful of times. And maybe Mark Pope believes in him and thinks that he's that guy, but I think that what Jackson is telling us is that he's not the star player. He's a great player, but he's not the star player on our team. Amari Williams cannot be the starter on our team. He is a liability on both offense and defense. Defensively, if you actually watch him play, he never leaves his feet to contest a shot. He doesn't even put his hand up most of the time. So teams that watch a lot of film before the game, which it looked like Ohio State did, realized, hey, we can just drive the basketball at this guy, and as soon as we leave our feet or go up for a layup, he's not going to contest anymore. I don't know what that is about Amari Williams, but he's literally not contesting shots on defense. Then you look at him on the offensive end, and his entire game is that he's going to try to back you down from the 3-point line, and that's not effective. Best case scenario for him there is that he gets fouled, and then he goes to the free throw line, and he's not a capable free throw shooter. So he can't play on the offensive end or the defensive end. He would be a great player off of the bench, but in the starting role, he's just hurting our team too much because he's really limited. I think that this loss is really discouraging for the Kentucky fan base because it makes us really hesitant about March. I don't know what this team is going to look like in March. I don't think that this team has the best talent. I thought that we would be a team that was just so tightly knit and our game planning would be better than the other teams, that we'd be able to have success in March. But when you look at a game like this that was just kind of a dogfight, every team that makes a 64 team tournament is going to be physical, is going to have a guy, an individual guy who's able to shoot the lights out, and they're going to play as a ball club and probably have a physical big too, right? And so Ohio State is the greatest example of what a tournament team looks like. And we had no business even being in the gym with them. I mean, from the very first jump ball, it was Ohio State. They were knocking down shots. They were playing defense like we had never seen before. It was clear that they had watched a lot of film because the way that they were playing defense was designed to beat what we were doing on offense. But we had no adjustments that we were able to make. Even in the second half, when we went to the 1-3-1 zone and then we tried to play the trap man. First of all, it was too late. The game was over at that point. But second of all, that didn't even work. They just had veteran guys that somehow had an answer for everything. Number two was getting to the mid range and knocking down buckets like Chris Paul. So I don't know. I mean, that's what tournament teams are going to look like, but that makes me really hesitant when we think about our team going into March. Ohio State played outstanding. Will Howard played the best version of Will Howard that he had yesterday. What I mean by that is that you could tell that he wasn't scared. He was taking shots on the defense. I think it was the first touchdown of the game when he threw that deep ball to Jeremiah Smith. I could tell that Will Howard was on. He was playing confident. He was playing like the Kansas State Will Howard, and that makes Ohio State a completely different ball club. From the first snap to the last, Tennessee didn't have a chance in that game. They were out physical. Our defense played amazing. And when I say our defense, I mean our defensive line actually controlled the front for the first time in a game. Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau actually played up to their potential for the first times in their entire career. They played out. Jack Sawyer was getting his hands on tip balls. JT was getting sacks. and it was actually beautiful Ohio State football. When this team was designed, that's what the defense was supposed to look like. If this Ohio State team can take that defense into the Oregon game, they're going to be national champions. The version of the Ohio State Buckeyes that we saw yesterday were national champions. I think the biggest part about what we saw Ohio State do is that they answered the call of adversity. Everybody in America was calling them soft. There are podcasters that are saying that they don't have culture and that they're soft and that they're not that good. Ohio State answered that call yesterday. They said, hey, no, we still have that DNA. And not only are we going to fight, but we're going to fight to save our coach's job because his ass is on the hot seat. Tennessee is a really good ball club. They have players at every position. They played an SEC schedule. I thought that Tennessee had a chance to beat Ohio State, but the Buckeyes came and proved that they are, and still should be, the number 2 team in the country. Right? If Michigan hadn't done what they did to them, Ohio State would still be the number 2 team in the country. And that's what they played like yesterday. So kudos to Ryan Day, kudos to the Buckeyes. Next game is going to be huge at Oregon, and we're going to find out a lot. But if the Buckeyes play like that, I got Ohio State beating Oregon.